really appreciate you putting the time and energy into these trainings so that we can all grow and become better cell group leaders. Because we all need to learn. We all need to grow, don't we? So Tuesday night we had a really amazing time at Highline Reservoir with the picnic and the baptisms. And we had a number of cell groups that were there together, and that was really exciting to see that. And we were able to see the storms get pushed away. And we baptized 7 people. So it was a great time to do that. I want to really acknowledge, if you guys see Pastor Bob, Dave Roman, and Landon Miracle, thank them for all their work that they did to put that together. And let's give a big hand to Marty, because she's the one who really orchestrated it. So just real quickly, many of you already know this, but I just want to say a couple things about the summer. In the church, summer is a funky time, isn't it?
Yeah.
And if we don't understand these realities of life and the culture of the Western Slope, it will mess with your heads as a cell group leader. Because you'll be thinking, where the heck is everybody? Right? And so how do we survive and even thrive in the summer is really important. First and foremost is just don't get discouraged. It's the way it is here. I remember we did a road trip, went to a youth conference, and we stayed in a Vineyard Church in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And I was talking to the pastor, and I said, hey, do you guys experience a dip in your attendance in the summer like we do in Colorado? I was just curious. He goes, oh, heck no. This is the Midwest. We don't do anything. Everyone just works, and they go home, and they come to church. And so he said, nothing changes in the summer. And I told him, our attendance drops 30% every summer. He was astounded when he heard that. But that's really true, if you look at our statistics. But Galatians 6:9, this is the word of encouragement to you guys. Because I know, being a cell group leader, anytime we're engaged in any kind of ministry, it's taxing. It can be downright hard. In Galatians 6:9, the Apostle Paul said, and let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season. So it's saying that if you hang in there, we will reap if we do not give up. There will be a harvest. There's something about fortitude. There's something about stick-to-itiveness and staying with it, and eventually you will begin to see fruit. And it said, so then, as we have opportunity, let us do good to everyone, and especially to those who are of the household of faith. So that's really describing your job as cell group leaders, is how do we care for and shepherd the people in our cell groups. It really needs intentionality. So as the cell group leaders in the summer, it's very helpful for us to be thinking and asking the questions, whatever you do in the summer, that there are those moments that you as a family, or you and your spouse, or even you individually, just need to get alone, right? Get away. You need that. But there are other times we can ask that question, who could we invite to go do this with us? So if you're going to a concert at Las Colonias, you could ask the question, unless it's your anniversary or something. Who could we invite? What's another couple we can invite to go with us? That's how you utilize the summer, the rhythms of the summer. I'm going to go fishing on Saturday, you say. Who could I invite? What brother could I invite to go fishing? Okay, Kevin raised his hand. That's how we make summer intentional. Okay, now I want to shift gears real quickly And I want to talk about being a vibrant leader, because leadership is what everything falls on. The success and the growth of your cell groups and of the people's growth and development in your cell groups is hinged on this very thing. It's good leadership. Okay, I've seen this in all levels. I've seen churches just totally implode and fall apart. It's because of a lack of leadership. But I've seen churches grow and thrive. It doesn't happen by accident. It happens by good leadership. So, you as leaders, we all need to grow to become the type of leaders that God's called us to be. And as your cell group will basically trickle down from you as the leader. Steve Holt, who pastored Mountain Springs Vineyard Church in the Springs, he was kind of a mentor of mine, one of about 3 guys that mentored Jane and I when we were just starting the church in Canyon City. And she's fine. And he said, the church, the spiritual level of your church will always be a little bit below your spiritual level. So if you want your church to grow spiritually, you have to continually be growing spiritually. You understand that? It's the same thing in your cell group. You want the people in your cell group to grow in their love for Christ, to serve Him, to be evangelists in the marketplace. It starts with you. It starts with you just seeking after Jesus passionately. And then it trickles down from us. So the question is, in the summer, as well as the rest of the time, how are you using these rhythms of the summer to really make sure that you are growing spiritually? I love the series we did on You and Me Forever, because it was focused on our spiritual growth. And then all our other relationships seem to fall in place when we are growing and thriving. So if we're passive as leaders, if we don't communicate well, if we don't model to the rest of the group what a follower of Jesus looks like, if we're not being missional and not talking to people about Jesus and inviting them, it's not going to happen in our cell groups. It starts with what we model. It starts with how we communicate the vision. On a regular basis, we need to communicate the vision because we're the leaders. And the leaders are who the people will follow. But if we don't communicate where we're going, they don't know where to go. So vision is so paramount to be good cell group leaders and to be able to disciple the people that we have in our cell groups and to care for them, to give them pastoral care. So, as we consider ourselves as leaders, the one thing that I have seen in guys and women that I see grow and thrive is they are just inherently learners. They're always asking the right questions. Because what's underneath that is a sense of humility that I know I don't know everything. If there's something you need to know, just know you don't know everything. And so, leaders that are constantly pursuing Christ, growing in His truth, and even studying teachings on leadership, those are the people that will continue to grow and thrive. When we do it just on natural instinct, we're going to miss a lot. So that's why we need outside influence. We need other eyes on us. That's why discipleship is so important. For you as a leader, you have to have someone that is speaking into your life, that is helping you to make sure that we're growing individually. We can't disciple people well unless we are being discipled well. Okay, so that's why that's so important. So if we're not in a vital, growing relationship with Christ, here's what will happen to us as cell group leaders. We will become cynical. We become critical. Right? We become resentful. Why are these people calling me? And then we start thinking, you know, it'd be much easier if we just went to a movie tonight instead of having cell group. Those are the thoughts that go through a mind of a person that's burning out. And we are not going to make it in ministry unless we are doing the things to feed ourselves spiritually. We have to be self-fed. And that's God knocking. He's saying, wake up. So, there are so many negative thoughts that go on in a leader's mind. If we did kind of a survey here, we probably have somebody here that says, you know, I'm just not qualified to do this. What we have to understand is none of us are. And so that humility says, but Lord, you can do it through me. And Lord, teach me and help me to grow. Don't stay where you're at. Grow. And so I'm telling you, some of the things that I have been through in the last 23 years as a pastor, I have been able to come to the place that I am. But you know what? It wasn't by it all being easy. In fact, a lot of it was because it was so stinking hard. And so that's where the Lord teaches us, and we grow and we become strengthened and able to endure. Another thing we can say is, you know, I just don't want to lead. But the Lord may have spoken to you. You're called to be a leader. And so if we choose not to lead, we're actually living in disobedience. And you know, that's a thing that haunts me. When the Lord called Jane and I to come to Junction, she didn't want to come. But I told Jane, I said, Jane, I don't want to be Jonah, because the Lord spoke to me to come. You know? There is that thing. The Lord's spoken to each of you to do what you're doing. And I hope you're thinking as well, I don't want to be like Jonah. Although there are periods of time that the Lord says, I want you to take a break so that you can get healed, so that you can be restored. I mean, there's so many things and reasons, but usually it's just, I want you to take a few days by yourself. Go get reconnected with me, and then get back in. Some of us also are thinking, I don't think I can do it. I just don't have the strength or the wisdom for this. Well, none of us do. That's why we need Jesus. That's why we need the Holy Spirit too. There are so many times that literally, this is the depth of my prayer. God, you got to give me something, because I got nothing. That was kind of this week's message. How do you talk about something so big in 40 minutes? I go, Lord, you got to do it, because I don't know. Right? So I just started praying. As I'm praying, I just started typing as I'm going, and the Lord started giving me stuff. You see, that's kind of how it is as a leader. And the other thing is, don't compare yourself to other leaders. That kills us. I'm not as good, and I'm not as good looking as Glenn Brown. Right, Glenn? Every man can say that. I'm not as anointed. I'm not as smart. I'm not as... We can fill in the blanks when we're comparing ourselves to one another. God made you just the way you are. God gave you your personality. God gave you your talents, your abilities. And here's what I found in leadership, how it flies, is I find other people who are good at what I'm horrible at. And then when you work together as a team, that's when you start seeing things happening. That comes with prayer, and that comes with God downloading wisdom to us. So as you're in your cell groups, be praying, Lord, Who are other leaders that you're raising up? It could be a diamond in the rough. And as you begin to invest in that person and disciple them, that's how we multiply our ministry. See, many leaders, you just open the door and welcome people, you're very loving, and you go through the process of a cell group, but you're not really being a leader yet. You're not being a leader until you're prayerfully asking, Lord, who has it on them? And who do you want me to invest in? We should continually be doing that and praying. The other heart of a leader is we're called to be servant leaders. Okay, so if we're in this for fame and fortune, we're not going to go very far, are we? But the one thing of a leader that I think is so critical is having godly character. Before competence, I always look at character. I want to make sure this is somebody I can allow to watch my puppy. But this is someone that I trust. This is someone that I see humility in. This is someone who's teachable. This is someone who, when it's time to show up, they're there. These are people that you just see that godly character in them, and then you also see how people respond to them. Because it's that godly character, and what's underneath that is love of Christ, is people are just drawn to that person. And so when we're in it for ourselves, when we're in it for the focus on us, that's where things begin to unravel. It's got to be humility. We can't be afraid to put in the work, to put in the time, to put in the sacrifice, because we know what it's for. It's not about us. We don't build large cell groups so that we can brag to others. We do it to build the kingdom. Okay? So the one thing that we also do is understanding that let's utilize the time in between cell group meetings to be a cell group leader. And so periodically, as I'm praying, someone is brought to my mind by the Lord, and I'll just send them a quick text. Hey bro, I'm thinking of you. How's it going? Sometimes I know something's going on in someone's life, so I'll give them a phone call. What's going on? How are you? It's that touch, those little touches. And Steve Holt again, he called those deposits. And it's like a bank account, that when you make deposits in your bank account regularly, when you need to take something out, which could be like a confrontation of somebody, that if we've made enough deposits in their life, they'll receive our godly counsel more readily because they know you love them and you're for them. That comes with a leader doing way more than just waiting for people to show up on Tuesday night or Wednesday night or whatever. Is that you're constantly engaged, thinking and praying. And a lot of times, it just doesn't take much time to just send a quick text. Hey, I'm praying for you, bro. Thinking of you. What's going on? That gives us great mileage. And then the ultimate picture that we have of a servant leader is in John 13. Jesus washed his disciples' feet. That is the lowliest job of a servant. Nobody wants to wash their feet. But Jesus did it. Because he's showing to them, I lay my life down for you. Now you go do the same. That's what a good leader does. Servant leader is out in front, serving and leading, and then the people follow. We have hospital visits. We bring food to the sick, to those recovering from surgery. We gather some guys together that are 30 years younger than me to help people move. If necessary, we be generous. We give to those in need. That, my friends, is the heart of a cell leader. And so I encourage you guys to just think about these things I talked about as you go home later this afternoon, and just say, Lord, what am I falling short on? Not in a critical sense, but it's just the Lord saying, if you did these few things, it would really enhance your leadership. It will make you better. Because that's all this training is about. We want to make you better for the sake of the kingdom. Right? Let's go get them. Make the most of this summer. Don't just take a break. We'll see you again in September. Because the cell groups we've seen that do that, usually, they don't see them in September. They just don't come back. We got to stay engaged. Foster pastoring your people. All right? So, in your tables, I would encourage you to just circle the wagons, and just spend a few times praying for your cell group. Be praying for people that you know that are lost, that need Jesus. You know the rhetoric. But just spend a few times praying, and I got to get back in for the next service. Bless you guys. Oh, by the way, now be watching on the off weeks of the trainings. We are going to be sending you podcasts of a teaching that will follow suit, so that you can listen to that podcast as you work out, as you're driving a car, as you're laying in bed, getting ready to go to sleep. These podcasts are there to continue to equip us and to help us to grow. Okay? Because we really are for you guys and want the best for you. God bless you guys. Thanks.